Hello and welcome to News Now on News Central TV. I am Adebola Adeduba. The top stories are this hour. Impeached Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, forced removal, insists he remains Speaker. Zamfara Deputy Governor asks citizens to arm themselves to resist and fight bandits. Angolan President urges ceasefire as tensions escalate in DR Congo. And details shortly. Let's begin by telling you that embattled lawmaker Mudashiru Obasa says he remains the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly until the right thing is done. Members of the Assembly on January 13th impeached Obasa over alleged gross misconduct and abuse of office. His removal also came a few weeks after he was accused of spending 17 billion naira on a gate to the Assembly complex. Obasa, who was away during the impeachment saga, was welcomed back home by his loyalists at his Joel Ogunaike GRA residence in Ikeja on Saturday. The former speaker also debunked the allegations of corruption brought against him by the lawmakers during his removal, describing the alleged financial misappropriations as impossible.
But to remove, you must follow the due process, as I have said. We have rules, we have constitution. When you want to remove, you must do what? Follow me. At the same time, that man that said Obasa took part in the removal of Honorable Abdulwahid Pelumi, Honorable Funmi Tejuosho, and those people that were suspended. And I've said it, let me repeat it. Honorable Pelumi, right? Honorable Pelumi is my brother, is my friend. I fondly call him Wada Wahidi till tomorrow. When he was removed, he was on the floor of the house. Probably he was presiding. When Tejuosho was removed, she was in the house. And those who were suspended, they were around. And there was no involvement of police. And the house, the chamber was not broken into. And fake mace was not brought to the house. I'm not afraid of being removed.
In the meantime, impeached Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has been warned to avoid heating up the polity. This comes in reaction to Obasa's claims on Saturday that his removal as Speaker did not follow due process. Reacting to his comments, the State House of Assembly reaffirmed the impeachment decision made on January 13th. The lawmakers insisted that they have the constitutional right to remove principal officers and condemned Obasa's actions as uncalled for and unparliamentary. They urged him to pursue peace for the state's well-being, warning that any attempt to disrupt the peace will be resisted by the majority. And to help make sense of this, we're joined by a legal practitioner as well as a public affairs analyst, and that's in person of Tunji Abdulhamid. Good evening, glad to have you join me on the news.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let me kick off by asking what your impression is regarding Obasa's insistence that he remains the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Do you think this has any constitutional backing whatsoever?
I don't think so, in my own opinion. And that opinion is based on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 92, Subsection 2C provide how a speaker can be removed. And what the simple requirement to remove a speaker is not less than two-thirds resolution by members. That's all. That is the only thing they require to remove a speaker. Because if the speaker is just a member of the House, it's just one among equal. In other words, they just need a leader, and that is why they will have to pick a speaker. It's not as if the speaker has more elective value or representative value than other members of the House. And like I said, the requirement of the Constitution does not go beyond asking the people who want to remove the speaker to have not less than, to pass a resolution supported by not less than two-thirds majority of member of the House. In fact, the House did not require to even have any allegation against the Speaker for him to be removed. They need not have any allegation against him. They can just wake up in the morning and they decide to say, our Speaker, we are not comfortable with the way our manner is doing. We want to remove him. If they have 2/3 majority, so be it. So there is no need for any special procedure regarding removal of Speaker. Speaker is just a mere member of the National Assembly, House of Assembly, and is just the leader of the House based on the requirement of the law. And the removal of Speaker does not require any other special procedure known to me as Tunji Abdulhamid.
Well, Mr. Abdulhamid, it's interesting you cited one of the requirements, which is nothing less than 2/3 of participation by members of the House. Now, looking at Obasa's case, I beg your pardon?
Not participation. Not participation. I say resolution.
Resolution.
Not less than 2/3 majority members of the House.
Indeed, duly noted. Now, looking at these requirements, which you have rightly stated, would you say the House followed due process as outlined in the Constitution?
Yeah, based on the information given to us, that there are 2/3 majority of members in support of it. If they have 2/3 majority, they have done the right thing. If it's only when they don't have the 2/3 majority that they'll be doing the wrong thing. What the other people are expecting is for them to spell out his offense, to start bring out committee, set up committee, and determine whether or not it's guilty or not. No, like I said, they can wake up in the morning, everybody, and somebody will just raise an issue and say, we have no confidence in our Speaker any longer. And then they will pass what we call vote of no confidence. That is the solution. It will be supported by 2/3 majority of the members of the House. So be it. It be removed.
How about the comments made by Obasa himself saying that, the processes carried out were non-procedural? Do you think that is founded or unfounded?
It's unfounded as far as under the law. Unfortunately, he did not cite any section of the law to back his position. If he has done that, we will have looked at that particular section. But the one that I know, which I have mentioned, section 92, subsection 2C of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, that is the only requirement to remove a Speaker. There are other requirements by which a Speaker can be removed if a Speaker ceases to be a member of the House of Assembly. That is not the case here. The case here is that he was removed, and that is the dispute here. Was he removed by 2/3 majority? If yes, then the removal is proper. If no, then it's not proper.
Well, he talked about him being absent while this was carried out. Do you think in the law or in the Constitution, this could be, a point of reference of if it was right or wrong by members of the House?
Was there a quorum when the House was sitting? Or when it was removed, was it a sitting of the Assembly? Is he saying that whenever he's not around or not available, the House cannot sit and take decisions that will be binding on him? So, in fact, the fact that he's not around does not matter. As long as they have quorum, as required by the law, to sit, and as long as, like I said, they have not less than 2/3 majority that pass the resolution to remove him. So they need not have. He need not be available. He need not be available. It's as long as those who remove him at the time of sitting have that quorum or form a quorum to sit as an House of Assembly.
Well, certainly we'll keep tabs on this to see how the story unfolds, but thank you so much for your perspective on the news. Tunji Abdulhamid, a public affairs analyst, many thanks indeed.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Bandits have reportedly abducted 22 locals in fresh attacks in the Kogwata community of Kusheka and Kitanda community of Gishere, both in Karo local government area of Kaduna State. It was gathered that the assailants invaded the two communities in separate attacks on Friday at about 10:30 p.m., kidnapping 22 locals, mostly women and children. 12 locals were kidnapped in the Kitanda community of Gishere, while 10 locals were also whisked away in the Kogwata community of Kusheka. And still on security matters, hard-to-reach communities affected by terrorism in Sokoto and Zamfara State have expressed worry about restrictions placed on the use of firearms to combat terrorists and bandits as first responders whenever they are attacked. They said these has left them as sitting ducks without protection from the terrorists, leaving their loved ones in harm's way. In this special report, News Central correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu paid a visit to some of the communities and now tells us more.
Terrorist-affected communities in either Sokoto, Zamfara or Katsina State, even by security agencies, is a Herculean task. News Central's crew had a feel of this reality. as it sought to get answers from those affected by the insurgencies firsthand. The visit took us to Sabon Birni and Isa in Sokoto East, Silame, Wamako and Tangaza local government area in Sokoto North, and Maradan, Maru and Zurmi local government areas of Zamfara State. One citizen who has been affected by the insurgency is Umaru Dogo. Dogo, who has lost his entire family to a mistargeted airstrike at Gidansama village in Sokoto State, expressed his displeasure at the military for labeling him a member of the Lakurawa terrorist group.
I am just a farmer. I am suffering looking for what to eat when this Air Force jet bombed this place. My entire family lost their lives. My neighbors then came to help me pick the bodies to bury. Then ground troops came to open fire on us, injuring 3 people. After that, they invited me to come and explain myself. I did, and they threatened to throw me inside the fire from the bomb.
We also sought to get reactions from the Nigerian military over the unfortunate event, which left many dead as Air Force fighter jets sought to neutralize Lakurawa bandits.
Even when we clear an area, we have to pull out to other areas. So the state infrastructure needs the institution. They need to improve. They need to be on ground. The local government chairman need to stay there. You cannot be local government chairman of Tangaza and then you'll be operating from Sokoto. No.
The issue of road deficit is addressed, and once that is done, I'm sure it's going to help in improving the security situation within the Northwest region.
The visit also took us to Gongono in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State. Stakeholders here at the community expressed their views on the war against terrorism.
So when they come, they say they want to save our people. You know, a local man, when you say you will save him because of these terrorists, they will accept you. But later, they understand that they are all the same because they will put their animals inside your farm. So they are all the same to you. That is why they accepted them before. But later, they ran away from them.
There are a lot of sympathizers and also informants. Before we go out of any operation, these sympathizers and informants usually call and inform the terrorists about our patrols and whereabouts. And also the locals usually allow the terrorists to come and marry some of their women in the place whereby they have a relationship, since this village and Niger are close.
Even neighboring Zamfara State has had its own share of terrorist activities. While the government is implementing a homegrown solution, its local vigilante groups believe that with more support from the military, much can be achieved.
Everyone here, both young and old, has a gun. Once these bandits invade us, everyone swings into action. And if it is your time to die, you know you have tried your best. Is that not how it should be?
The state government is, however, in the forefront of those pushing for citizens to be armed as part of efforts to combat terrorist groups. While the northwest region of the country continues to suffer the effects of terrorism, many here say there is much expectation from government to help end the menace. In Gusau, Zamfara State, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
To help put into perspective, we're joined by former chairman, Zamfara Committee on Prosecution of Bandits, Abdullahi Shinkafi. But before that interview, let's put into context what was said in that report by the Deputy Governor of Zamfara State.
wanda a ɗan zafara mazaunin zafara duk wanda a ƙasar zamfara ya shirya duk kayan da kai rikawa na yaƙi ya rika ma kai ne komi gare ka rika shi ka yi umarni da shi an ka zo cuta ma ka kare ka kana da bindiga 50 ba sa hausa ba ƴan uwanka guda ku kare kanku ga azzalumai.
Good evening, Mr. Shinkafi. My guest, Abdullahi Shinkafi, who is the former chairman, Zamfara Committee on Prosecution of Bandits, joins me now. Good evening. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
All right. Is this a case of the government throwing up its hands in the air, declaring itself helpless?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. You see, the issue of arms handling, based on what the deputy governor has said, it lies under the Firearms Act of 1959. So for government calling the citizen to arm themselves, the deputy governor is referring to use of locally fabricated guns. I'm not holding brief for the deputy governor, but the Firearms Prohibition Law of 1959 is very clear on who are entitled to possess firearms. You are not allowed to use any firearms unless and until it has been licensed by Mr. President or Inspector General of Police. And the penalty for illegal possession of firearms was clearly spelled out on the Firearms Prohibition Act.
But, having referenced that, clearly, what could be the impacts of allowing civilians, for instance, to use firearms, looking at the broader national security framework of Nigeria?
You see, the issue of banditry and other criminality has been on the higher side. And the issue of banditry, if I can refresh your memory, in Zamfara State, it is there for over a decade. And all the 14 local government areas of Zamfara are under siege of these criminal armed bandits, the outlaws. And the law is very clear. The criminals may have access to get these firearms illegally. And the law specifically made some stipulation on the penalty for possession of these illegal firearms. If a person has been arrested for possession of firearms, should be prosecuted for illegal possession of firearms, not less than 10 years imprisonment or fine of 20,000 by a competent court of law. So calling for civilians to arm themselves, it is uncalled for and it is illegal. It is only if they can use the locally fabricated weapons, because even on the acts, rifles is not allowed to be used, grenade is not allowed, only from action, double barrel, and must be issued, the license must be issued to the holder, and you must possess, you must be physically and mentally fit. All those who have a record of intemperamental behaviors, attitude, are not allowed to possess a firearms. And you must also attain the age of 18 years. So it's an act of National Assembly, unless and until the act is been amended, where a civilian will be now allowed to possess a firearms and ammunition.
Indeed, we'll see how that turns out. We're looking forward to a very secure Nigeria, hopefully in the nearest future. Thank you so much for your time on the news. Abdullahi Shinkafi, former chairman, Zamfara Committee on Prosecution of Bandits. Many thanks indeed for your time.
Oh, thank you. God bless you.
After the break, federal government begins measures to stop recurrence of tanker explosion. Details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying tuned. President Bola Tinubu has welcomed the intervention of the Finnish government with the arrest and detention of self-proclaimed leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Simon Ekpa. Tinubu said the government would not tolerate actions and statements that could lead to decisiveness among citizens. The president spoke when he received the letters of credence from the Finnish ambassador to Nigeria, Sana Selin, at the State House. He commended the Finnish authorities for timely intervention that safeguarded the nation's integrity and mitigated an action that threatened peaceful coexistence. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu will depart Abuja on Sunday for Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to participate in the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit on January 27th to 28th, 2025. And this is according to a statement by Tinubu's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononoga. The summit, hosted by the government of Tanzania in collaboration with the African Development Bank Group and the World Bank, aims to advance Mission 300, an initiative to provide electricity access to 300 million people in Africa by 2030. In Dar es Salaam, African leaders, private sector leaders, development partners, and civil society groups will strategize to accelerate energy access to the continent. The Nigerian Senate has accused the federal government of double standards in addressing illegal activity, tackling oil bunkering aggressively while being lenient on illegal mining. Senator Adams Oshiomhole, chair of the Senate Committee on Interior, raised the concern during a budget presentation by Senator Sampson Ekong, chair of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals Development. Oshiomhole warned that economic diversification will remain elusive without decisive action against illegal mining, blaming influential figures, including retired generals, for complicity. Ekong emphasized the need to increase the ministry's capital budget to 539 billion naira for 2025, calling the initial 9 billion naira allocation grossly inadequate.
Any part of Nigeria where you don't have solid minerals, even in the south. But what I observe, whereas the federal government is ruthless with people who are doing illegal oil bucking, and they deploy JTF to deal with those involved in illegal bucking. When it comes to illegal mining of solid minerals, the federal government changes. It's like using different standards. And I'm very angry about that. Because if we have to fight, deploy army, even to kill for anyone who is involved in illegal bucking of oil, and you deploy JTF, a combination of army, police, air force, everybody, why are we allowing illegal mining in many parts of the country that is going on? And they are being manned by retired generals, and we know them. Yes, we know them. Nobody can pretend doesn't know them.
But one of the agencies that quits, if 220 billion is injected into that agency, it can in 10 trillion of this country in 2 years. These are clear harvest. Let me also say that we can use minerals to act as a unifying instrument in this country. When we know that the oil in Bayelsa or Akwa Ibom is bringing in so much for Nigeria, and that from the gold mines in Zamfara, Niger State, Zamfara State, Kaduna, a lot of endowment are being meaningfully harvested for Nigeria. Apart from football, what area, what instrument that can unite Nigeria is not better. I can say this. We know the strength of football as a unifying factor in Nigeria. We can explore the potential that gold medals accrue to this country to further unite Nigeria.
In the meantime, the National Assembly has postponed its resumption date from January 28th to February 4th to allow the completion of ongoing budget defense sessions. The clerks of the Senate and the House of Representatives announced the change in a separate statement on Saturday. Both men confirmed that the postponement was necessary to allow committees sufficient time to conclude ongoing budget engagements and defenses for the ministries, departments, and agencies. Spokesperson for the House of Representatives, Akin Rotimi, also said the development has been communicated to honorable members through an internal memorandum issued by the Clerk of the House of Representatives on the directive of the House leadership. Away from that, Nigeria's federal government has commenced efforts to end the recurrence of the unfortunate incidences of petrol tanker explosions, which usually leaves behind a trail of death, injuries, and destruction. This was as the nation's National Orientation Agency paid a visit to the Lambata community in Niger State to educate citizens on the dangers associated with scooping petrol from accident tankers. Our correspondent Amadine Oye has details.
The recent tanker explosion in Diko, Niger State, which left many dead as they scooped petrol from a falling tanker, can best be described as a national tragedy. Following a presidential directive to educate citizens on the dangers of such acts and bring to an end the recurring incident, Nigeria's National Orientation Agency has visited Lambata community in the state in a bid to avert the same kind of tragedy and protect the public.
When a tanker has fallen, we can protect the products. We can cordon off the area immediately. So we must put a system in place where we can get information when such things happen immediately, so that we actually do not allow people to go near this issue.
Others in the community expressed their views on the incident.
We should try and warn our children, warn all the people in Nigeria, not even in local government, to stop this type of attitude. Go in when there is any fault, the truck fell down, not even the fuel on, any type of truck. So person shouldn't go there for removing something on that vehicle.
My advice is when there are incidents like this, people should not always look at what they stand to gain, but to first of all look at the unfortunate incident that has taken place, the person who has lost money or something. That should be the concern of the community.
There is no thing like total ignorance, because ordinarily you should know as a woman that the danger that comes with going near a fire, not even an explosion.
Quick money, quick trouble. Shi ne yasa kuma ƴan uwanmu da suka gabace mu suka halaka. A wurin nan akwai wani da ya samu so daya. Duk kwamin da muka gani muna ganin na gwamnati ne banza, bari a ci shi. Wallahi an kai hakuri abinda baka zato ba za ka same shi. Amma kai hanzari shi ne yake kawo wannan.
The NOA says that its campaign to prevent tanker explosions, which usually leads to the death of citizens, has commenced across the 774 local government areas of the country. In Niger State for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
You're watching News Central now. More stories shortly. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Following News Central's reports on the closure of Ibadan Elume Primary Health Care Center in Sapele local government area of Delta State, the facility has resumed operations. The health center was shut for over 4 months after burglars allegedly stole health workers' phones and other equipment. News Central's Austin Azu paid a visit to the primary health care center and now reports.
The entrance to the outpatients hall was closed by the medical officers here at Ibadan Elume community. But right now, the door is wide open to accommodate patients that will be coming to seek medical attention.
Since when I see anywhere they run, they come. Everywhere closed. No nurse, no doctor. Just they manage the place, but now it all day okay. Much I will feel them because I register for here, so when they come out, they will not coffee, they come here.
Thank you.
Others expressed gratitude for the return of the health workers to their posts.
I think the government have done the needful. We are grateful to the government, especially the governor, Governor Sheriff of Boriwori, for taking the right steps that was needed to be taken.
Even the matron is trying, he attended to the patient appropriately. I see she has good manner compared to before.
These individuals commend News Central TV for amplifying their voices when health workers went on strike and for facilitating their prompt return following a news report on the health center's closure a few weeks ago.
Thank you, News Central, for your intervention and what you did to actually make these people come back for us. We're happy and we're grateful to you. Thank you very much.
News Central, I have to thank you people for the job that you have done. At least before, this place was abandoned, but as at now, the place is going well.
The development is a fallout of your very detailed and elaborate reportage about what transpired there some months back. I think I saw that report. It actually moved the government.
While the immediate issue leading to the shutdown of the health center may not have been fully addressed, community leadership has been urged to provide the necessary assistance to enable health workers to perform their duties effectively.
So it is expected that the community cooperate and also support them in whatever way they can so that we can have the services unhindered, the services of these workers unhindered.
According to some of the health workers, they are calling on the state governments to provide them with security to guarantee their stay here at this health center. In Ibadan, Element for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
The demolition of shanties used as stalls by traders in Aba is generating concerns among affected traders in Abia State, southeast Nigeria. The harmonized task force on Tuesday commenced the dispersing of traders occupying streets, roads, and unauthorized places for buying and selling in the city. News Center's Chinwe Ugile has details.
The plea of the traders is for the Abia State government to provide a place where they can relocate to.
I
think the first thing the government should do is to make adequate provision for all these traders, because as of today, everybody is stranded. We don't even know where to begin. We don't even know where to start.
At Ongwa Road Market on Friday, full commercial activities are going on in the middle of the road, even after the harmonized task force dispersed traders and their customers on Thursday. The traders say it is quite early in the year to take away people's means of livelihood just 1 month after Christmas.
We just came back from village. We have spent a lot of money at the village, and we are here to recover them all, to enable us to pay the house rent and shop rent. And now they demolish our things. Where do they want us to go?
Another major concern expressed by traders at Eche Road Market is insecurity, which some say may be escalating if the young people affected are not allowed to carry on with their trade.
We've been the madam natural for her because this is the too difficult in this country now. And then you go show in your job career. I am gonna have a business and make us work.
Crime because a lot of people were engaged into something in order to get their daily bread.
Part of their excuses is that the markets are already filled up and cannot take in more people.
You have to put people in consideration. When looking at it, you will know that this is a marketplace and we have limited shops.
I'd like to pack to read. I cannot accommodate these people.
Some residents are, however, in support of the dispersal of street traders.
These people who on the roadside supposed to find shop in the market, start to sell their markets.
Abia State Commissioner for Information, Oke Kano, on Tuesday told journalists in Umuahia that government will begin clampdown of street traders in Aba and Umuahia.
All the complaints from the people boiled down to the fact that they have nowhere else to go. They are asking the state government to provide an alternative for them in order for them to carry out their daily buying and selling. Will the state government heed to the demands of the masses this time around? In Aba for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has commissioned the Saburi 1 and 2 access roads within the Abuja Municipal Area Council. The minister, during the exercise, assured residents of the federal government's commitment to providing infrastructure within satellite communities and the capital, saying that more projects will be considered in the 2025 budget proposal of the capital city.
I have assured you, under President Tinubu's administration, every part of Abuja will be touched. We are not going to concentrate development only in the cities. We must carry development by the directive of Mr. President to all the communities. And that is why since Monday, the 20th of January, this is the 6th day, we have visited all the area council. And I want to assure you, in this 2025 of our budget, every area council will have one road project.
Coming up, Angolan president urges ceasefire as tensions escalate in DR Congo. Details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying tuned. Angolan President João Lourenço has urged warring parties in the DRC to return to the negotiating table following the collapse of peace talks last year. Since the failure of the Angola-led peace talks, the M23 militia group backed by Rwanda troops has made remarkable territorial gains in the mineral-rich east of the DRC. This ongoing conflict has triggered a severe humanitarian crisis as their forces advance towards the provincial capital of Goma, a city of over 1 million people. Angola also condemned the escalating violence, highlighting the grave implications for the fragile humanitarian situation, particularly around the besieged town of Goma. The U.S., under President Donald Trump, has paused funding for the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, raising concerns for global HIV/AIDS efforts. Since 2003, PEPFAR has contributed over $85 billion to combat the disease, 7 million of lives in more than 50 countries, including Nigeria, which received over $6 billion. However, recent funding cuts have sparked fears about Nigeria's ability to sustain its progress. A source at the Institute of Human Virology Nigeria pointed out that the Nigerian government has not fully taken over HIV and malaria programs, leading to reduced American assistance. This funding freeze, which affects both new and ongoing initiatives, threatens the health of over 1 million Nigerians who rely on PEPFAR for life-saving treatment. Experts warn the situation could worsen without renewed support.
In business, Nigeria's stock market added 206 billion naira last week, with the Ajax All-Share Index rising 1.22% to 103,598.3 points. Market capitalization increased from 62.85 trillion naira to 63.65 trillion naira, pushing the year-to-date return to plus 0.65%. Investors sold off consumer goods, insurance, and oil and gas stocks, but showed strong interest in banking and industrial stocks, driving market growth. Despite mixed trading sessions, the positive close reflects renewed investor confidence. Nigeria's plan to boost crude oil production to 2.062 million barrels per day could put it at odds with OPEC's output limits. Improved security has helped lift production from 1.1 million barrels per day in 2022 to 1.48 million barrels per day last month, but Nigeria's OPEC plus quota remains at 1.5 million barrels per day. The government seeks higher oil revenues to address fiscal pressures, but must balance this with OPEC's efforts to stabilize global prices above $70 per barrel. Exceeding its quota could risk penalties or political tensions within the cartel. With Nigeria historically struggling to meet production targets, experts question whether the country can sustain increased output. The coming months will test its ability to navigate economic and geopolitical challenges. And moving on, the Prudential Authority has fined South Africa Standard Bank 30 million rands for non-compliance with the Financial Intelligence Center Act, FICA. The bank failed to conduct due diligence on 2 clients, delayed reporting over 17,000 suspicious transactions, and neglected to address over 75,000 automated transaction alerts within 48 hours. Despite these lapses, Standard Bank has pledged to improve compliance measures. The fine follows recent regulatory actions against other financial institutions, including Capitec, Old Mutual, and HSBC. And finally, President Donald Trump visited Las Vegas on Saturday to reaffirm his pledge to eliminate taxes on tips, a key campaign promise aimed at service industry workers. The hospitality sector, which accounts for over 20% of Nevada's jobs, welcomed the proposal amid rising living costs. The plan is part of Trump's broader tax agenda, which includes eliminating taxes on overtime pay and Social Security benefits. However, fiscal experts warn these cuts could add $7.5 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. Despite potential hurdles in Congress, Trump remains committed to the policy, crediting it for his electoral success in Nevada. And that's our business news at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. The news continues shortly.
And now it's time to catch up with the world of sports.
Niger Tornadoes secured a dramatic 2-1 victory over defending champions Enugu Rangers at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in the Nigeria Premier Football League clash. Ismail Saraki gave Tornadoes an early lead in the 17th minute, but Rangers equalized through Collins Ugueze in the 21st minute. The decisive moment came in the 64th minute when Ifeanyi Ogechukwu netted the winner for the visitors. The result saw Rangers drop to 4th place on the log, while Tornadoes climbed from 11th to 10th position, continuing their push up the standings. A few hours after her unveiling, Nigeria forward Francisca Odega made her first start in the Saudi Arabia Women's Premier League for Al Ittihad. Odega's debut was not a pleasant one as her new side suffered a 2-0 loss to Al Ula. 2 goals in the first half sealed victory for the hosts. Cote d'Ivoire player Ange Nguesson scored the first goal of the match in the 22nd minute of play. Sema Kapetanovic doubled the lead 6 minutes later after the hour mark. Odega played the duration of the game alongside her compatriot and Al Ittihad captain Ashley Prompter. Al Ittihad occupied the 7th position on the league table with 15 points from 12 games. In the English Premier League, Arsenal secured their 8th consecutive Premier League win against Wolverhampton Wanderers with a narrow 1-0 triumph at the Molineux in a fiery encounter where both teams ended the game with 10 men. Arsenal's only goal came in the second half from substitute Ricardo Calafiori. Meanwhile, Liverpool maintained a 6 points lead at the Summit with a commanding 4-1 victory over Ipswich Town at Anfield, extending their unbeaten streak to 18 matches. Newcastle United climbed into the top 4 after a 3-1 comeback win over Southampton, handing the Saints their 19th league defeat of the season. Matteo Retegui kept Atalanta's Serie A title hopes alive with a decisive brace in their 2-1 victory over Como on Saturday. The Italian striker struck in the 56th and 70th minutes at a rain-soaked Stadio Giuseppe Stadium, taking his league tally to 16 goals this season. The win, Atalanta's first in the Serie A in 2025, moves them closer to leaders Napoli. Retegui, the 25-year-old, has been in fine form, scoring 5 goals in 4 matches across all competitions since returning from a hamstring injury earlier this month. Retegui's resurgence is a timely boost for Atalanta as they prepare for a challenging trip to Barcelona in the UEFA Champions League. And that's a wrap on Sport Update. I am Udoka Njoku.
And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Impeached Speaker of Lagos State House Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has faulted his removal and insists he remains Speaker. Zamfara Deputy Governor has asked citizens to arm themselves to resist and fight bandits. We also told you that Angolan president has urged ceasefire as tensions escalate in DR Congo. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Aderuba.